Test our microphones. So you guys should be live now. As we get ready to actually start. I can't tell which is left or right. Sure. I'm packing in some B vitamins. I'm trying to lay off caffeine so late.
Yeah, especially with your sleep schedule right now. I imagine it's all kind of all over the place.
Oh, it's all over the place, back and forth. Who knows? But we're getting through it. We got Dion up. I'm gonna check my other slide here, making sure she is still working it. Impressive. Perfect. So that's set up. Which means we just have to hit the intro, wherever it could be. That's gonna be right now. A moment of silence as we really hear the intro. This is episode 370 of the Gold Squadron podcast, and one of your hosts, Will, fluent in over 6 million forms of list building, Hegwood. And tonight I'm joined by Marcel Viva la El USA Manzano.
What?
It was a play. It was going to be Long Live Mexico, but
It was almost gonna be Long Live Brazil, but one of our teammates decided not to lose this final game.
Well, it takes the whole team.
Yeah.
We also have James. The droids are back in town. Ritter.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a big resurgence in CIS separatists, and we're gonna talk about them today for the new XWA beta points.
Oh yeah. There's always some diehard CIS players out there. Normally a pretty small percentage these days after some grueling seasons.
All dozen of you.
Well, before we get too far, of course I gotta thank our largest group of supporters. That's right, it's the GSP Patreons. It's what keeps everything going, getting us to major events, getting all the great stuff we do online through our Discord, shareable art, Sector Series, this podcast, of course, all brought to you by the lovely Patreons. If you want to join them, there's levels. Even last I checked, we still have the $2 a month commitment. So if you think that's better than a better option for yourself than say like Twitch or any other way to help out GSP, Patreon's the place to go. Patreon.com/Gold Squadron. So with that out of the way, of course, a big lovely thank you to all the patrons. We can jump into it. Unless we got any other headlines.
I tried to look for any like big events. I didn't see anything that had hit List Fortress or Pattern Analyzer yet. But we can also hit NCX Draft League at almost a halfway point.
Oh sure. What's the big news?
I would say 1/3 waypoint.
That's fair. What's the big news coming out of the draft? Of course, me and you are playing in it. We got drafted onto Noah's team, the Punishers.
You go out there on the same team?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think you guys are playing our team this week, right?
We're playing Meatbags.
Yeah, I'm in Meatbag. Well, I'm not playing this week because
you're not playing this week?
No.
Roster. So I didn't see
I played the first.
matchups.
Yeah, I played the first 4 weeks, and then like they're rotating to get like the other players in.
Yeah.
Fair.
So I played the first 4 weeks. They kept me away from you guys on purpose, I guess.
I guess so.
That's
Well,
what it
we'll
is.
have to see. We'll have to see you in the rematch, because I think we should be playing in like week 8 or something. Let me see.
I don't know. I just know that I show up and
Understood.
they tell me like,
Yeah, no, it's
Marcel,
week
you're
10.
playing.
Week 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
He just tells me like, Marcel, you're playing this person this week, and I'm
He
like,
tells me.
okay.
He tells me what to do, and then I do it.
Well,
Yeah.
there's
Well, he tells me what to do, and then I go win.
Very good strategy. I mean, the Nickel City Draft League has over 150 players. I think 180, floating around 180 for the total amount between the 20 teams. That's what makes it baffling to me. I can't keep track of it because there's 20 teams.
Of 9, I think, is the number of players. So yeah. Looking at the overall records of the teams, it does look like we don't currently have. Week 4 ended on Sunday, but because of Earth problems, like
Earth.
all these hurricanes hitting the
could.
East Coast and Florida, our gracious overlord Greg of the NTX League has allowed those players to have a extra week to submit their games for week 4, but that does mean that the degenerates are looking at a possible only undefeated going into week 5. But we're still waiting for 2 more games for that to be decided. So we could have an undefeated going into week 5. We could not. I want to say last year we had several undefeateds going into week 5. So to see so many have already lost a game or lost a week already is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I can see it very much there.
But Meatbags with Marcel's team are 3-1 right now with 17 games won. Unfortunately, our team Punishers not doing too great, but we still have a whole 6 weeks to recover. We're currently 1-3 with 11 games won. I think.
You want to share the screen? So they're looking, or
I'll post the
link?
the sheet if you want to look along at home. It's a big complicated spreadsheet. So
yeah,
it's
hard to if you're not fluent in the but I want to say that Will, I think you're currently undefeated.
That's right.
Is that right? You're currently number 2 in the league.
That's right.
That's right.
With what faction?
With what faction? CIS. I thought it was
top 2.
Top 2 factions are CIS. That's crazy, actually.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I know the faction, and
I'm curious to see what you guys are flying, because
I think Chris is flying almost. I think I'm stealing, and I think he might have been inspired by what I was flying, but now I'm inspired by his tweak on it. So
because I think 2 or 3
watching the same person.
Yeah, because 2 or 3 of my wins were against CIS, and I'm curious to see what people are flying. I mean, the people that I flew were basically flying variations of one in Europe, like the 3 bombers and Sunfac and
Ensnare and proxy mines.
Yeah.
Can be deadly. Don't. You can't be thrown onto obstacles anymore. Tractor beams.
There's very
thrown onto a proxy mine.
Yeah, if you know you're flying against it, there's very easy counters against Ensnare. So, I mean, there's no easy counters against bombs other than don't land in front of them.
Yeah, turret.
There's easy counters against Ensnare.
I mean, but when people are throwing you onto bombs and mines, it can be crazy.
There's easy counters to not be tractored.
Okay. I mean, be a medium base.
Be a
Medium
medium
base.
No, there's just
Just
like for
don't be on
example,
that side of the board.
whenever I play against CIS, for example, I've been putting deuterium on my ships, and with deuterium's like they convert the tractor to a stress, so it's just basically he's just throwing stress, and that's not the only thing. Like most factions have pretty decent.
Yeah, with
counters.
NCX, knowing your matchup, like knowing what faction
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to be playing against, it is a little bit easier to.
But you're not going to do that in
For
a
that?
tournament,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
because you don't know who you're
Yeah,
going to match up
luxury,
against. Yeah,
No.
Yeah. So as weird as that is, it sounds like CIS may have a better matchup in a regular tournament scene where
yeah, because you
can't
don't
tech against them.
you don't tech against them purposely. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I'm also 4-1. My stats haven't updated because he hasn't put in the game today. But I won mine today, so I'm currently sitting at 4-1.
You were playing today.
So
that's pretty good.
Well, sorry if I'm not cheering. Boo you.
yeah, it was against a Lumberchuck, so he was actually on my team last year. So
Okay.
he was like, "Hey, old captain, like we're paired up."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, how is NCX going for you, Marcel?
Well,
Good.
I think he said
yeah, 3-1.
3-1 as well. Okay.
Yeah, so 3-1 currently, and I think as a team we're 3-1, and I actually am enjoying this format a lot, mostly because not being tied down to the same list every week.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know that I have like a low attention span for flying the same thing. Like I cannot fly the same list two tournaments in a row. It's just super boring.
Yeah.
So just the fact that I can switch lists, and now I'll be switching factions, like that's fun for me. So I'm enjoying it. This is the first time that I do this.
There is the added benefit of you do know your opponent's faction and the scenario.
Yeah.
So you can never be caught off guard, be like, oh, I don't have.
Well, they are also not.
Wrong list.
Yeah, I mean, your opponent should be attacking against you and against it as well. So I guess it does add that added benefit of like there's more list building, like specializing. Like you specialize into like building for the scenario and for what you think is good for the opponent in that scenario.
Yeah, I still think a lot of people just bring in, the 70% or 50% of their list that they like, and then just kind of swap it out, rotating in the last half of it, or just bringing the same list every week, no matter what scenario.
Yeah.
Or, like in my case, I think I've been playing Scramble or Assault only.
I already cheated once. That was good.
Well, I'm not surprised. Well, tell us how. You played the wrong scene.
I cheated week 1. I flew null with coordinator, so initiative 7 coordinating.
Sure. Yeah.
And in one turn, I coordinated a boost to a silencer. Is it silencer? No, not silencer. Into a whisper.
Yeah.
I coordinated a boost into a ship, and then after the game, the guy messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I was talking to folks about the game, and they said you can't coordinate a boost because he doesn't have a boost." I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
good to
thanks. Good to know." And then I almost cheated a second time, but my teammate found the discrepancy during a practice game, which I was trying to fly Agent Terex and throw a contraband to Tamsin. And they're like, nope, you can only throw it to the FO and SF. I was like, okay.
Yep, the words on this card, the ability that you're using.
Who reads those things?
I don't know. I convinced Epionic that he should put Swarm Tactics on his oddball, so he can get a lock from Axe. That's not what Axe's ability says at all. So I look like a fool. Then we played a practice game, and he messed me up with it. So it happens. The best ideas are right before you finish reading the cards. Anything else before we move on?
No, let's just jump right in.
Yeah.
All right. The only headlines I got is that the XTC finals is starting this week. Is what our banter was about at the top of the episode. That ourselves, Mexico, did not make it past the group stage. Fought hard, did not succeed.
Or hardly fought.
Well,
we were in last place, and we decided to beat the Brazil, which Brazil beat USA, and they almost got in.
They caused
and yeah.
I don't know what happened. Just everything that could is pretty much happened against Brazil. We did not play 100%. But we played won all of our other group matches, which got us into the finals. XTC, the International X-Wing Team Championship. It's country-based. Me alongside of Kenneth Lyons. I'll run the Team USA. We got a bunch of players. I'm going to wait for them to win before we boast too much about it. But they're excellent players. All of them really know what they're doing. And we're starting in. What I was saying was XTC used to be like a 2-day event, like over 12 hours, starting at like Friday night for USA. And this year we're abandoning that and just going to keep it more of a league style. But hopefully in the next 4 or 5 weeks, you can check out anybody streaming those XTC games. I'm going to hopefully catch some, but hard to say because we're playing people from all over the world. So who knows what the schedules will be. But very excited to see how that plays off. The whole team's been putting a lot of effort in. The only sad part is that between the release of the new AMG points, the update September 7th or so, and the XWA, XTC had decided not to move on to new points. We're going to all keep our same lists and go right into, because the group stage started a month ago, month and a half ago.
Before the new AMG points as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. We started playing before anybody publicly saw XWA, and before anybody obviously knew we were getting new points. So we had locked it in a long time ago.
Old points. Ooh,
yeah, wow. We locked in a long time ago that like, hey, we're not going to change to XWA when it appears. So it's too confusing to play half a tournament one way, then the second half with a completely different rule set. So
yeah,
I would have liked to see the new points, but like new AMG points. But
yeah, especially at such a high competitive level, right? And with so many games played, it would be some good data to see what's working and what's not.
Yeah, the decision to change to that just got delayed too far.
No, I mean it makes sense. I think that's probably the better decision overall, and safer decision for sure. Safer.
Yeah. As someone who has to answer to players, specifically, maybe we don't change our lists.
What version of points? Yeah, what version points are we using? AMG 2.5, 2.6, or XWA?
It's very confusing. But,
okay, well, we're going to hear more on that, I think.
A lot of those factions actually didn't change like that much. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
yeah.
It's still a good insight into what people will plan on flying there. Speaking of insight, though, I got a lot to talk about CIS.
CIS master over here.
Feel free to jump in, ask questions and things like that. But as I'm talking, because I'm just going to be talking your ears off. Mostly about a handful of pilots that have really stood out to me. But I've been really trying to work on getting all of them tested while I'm playing CIS in the draft league. Let's switch over to, of
Did you want to
course.
hit? Did you want to hit upgrades real quick before we jump into pilots? Because I think CIS has a ton of actual upgrades that changed for them that are kind of important
Um,
as we talk about this.
if you could have them pulled up
Okay.
and
Yeah, I got
ready
them pulled
to
up.
jump
Yep.
in, I still like the structure of going chassis by
Okay.
chassis, but I do agree. There's like most of these chassis have a couple upgrades that we're gonna need to know the points of to
Right. Yeah.
factor in
Especially
to their loadout.
especially with such low loadout numbers.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So I
Yes.
will say, just before we begin looking at relays, the only relay change we saw was Kraken going down 2 points to 6. So now the same number of points as Pinata TA 175.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still don't quite know. I know when to use a relay. I don't know when you're.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you should be building around it. Is I think
Yeah.
my answer is. I can see your list and be like, you need that relay. I could see a different list and be like, oh, you need that relay. But
Or
like,
you don't need one.
yeah, we're like, what are you doing? Get out of here. Um, but like designing around them has actually been a challenge. So that's a great idea to reference. But let's jump in to the classics here. The Vulture-class droid fighter. 2 attack, 2 agility, 3 hull, known for its grappling struts. These little
And
vultures.
longevity, right? They stay alive for a long time.
No! Anything. If not the worst chassis in the game, the escape craft has 2 shields, uh, which is impressive. Has more total health than these vultures, but like I said, they have a couple tricks that can get them to be better than just a single unit. Of course, we're talking network calculations, those relays we were referencing before, and also the grappling struts. Find a little obstacle, grab onto it for dear life. Um, and notably, there's a bigger change now. You're referencing upgrades, and the 2 biggest
Yeah.
upgrades for these vultures are independent calculations, which is a modification, and 2 points of loadout.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll see that a lot of these pilots have an or option that you can't get both independent and energy shell charge. Energy shell and XWA rules to better limit it. They added a modification to it as well, which I thought was an ingenious idea. So now we know. Well, most of these pilots we can see on their upgrade bar have 2 mods that could potentially take independent and energy shell. Not all of them work like that, so be keeping our eye out for that one. It'll be most. There's a big example right off the bat that has just 2 loadout, and to me, coming down to just 2 squad points, standout vulture to me. Put him in every list. It's DFS 311. Used to be
Yeah,
3
the new
points.
Sabine of the
Very,
separatists, in my opinion.
very good. If you take 311, well, I guess I should explain. 311 has the ability at the start of combat, throw one of your calculates and give it to a friendly at range 0 to 3. Amazing range, amazing board knowledge. You could always like, well, that person's getting shot 3 times, throw them a calculate, or oh, that person bumped, they don't have a target lock now, or they don't have any modifiers, throw them a calculate. With 2 loadout now, they have the choice then between traditionally energy shell or independent. Now, obviously, if he's the only vulture in your list, independent, throw him on a rock, measure it out, test the measurements about what a 3 and 4 speed maneuver out of your deployment zone is, and practice putting rocks in front of him so he can land completely on it. So he's not. Or shots on him are getting fully obstructed.
Yeah, make that ship 3 agility, please.
Yes. I mean, obviously, this is a great tactic with any vulture, but especially 311, because you could throw him in as the last 2 points as a lone vulture. Finally, I'm willing to bring in a single vulture. That's not Iron Assembler. And like I said, just independent, and that guy's ready to. So he keeps a calculate for himself, and he throws it to the most useful ship in there.
So you're telling me this DFS 311 is Palpatine for 2 points?
Well, it's Palpatine with less board knowledge, but
right,
yes.
Yeah.
He's Vizier out there with Palpatine flying around the outside of the board for half the price. Obviously, he's just a vulture. But that ability to throw calculates onto non-droid ships has been a multiplier. It combines.
Force multiplier?
Yes, it
Force
combines with the relay Kraken. Kraken can hold 3 calculates each round. But again, doesn't ask, is that person who's calculating someone who took it as an action or got thrown it? So, if you can, well, there'll be relay carriers later on. Vulture is not a relay carrier. But just pointing out, Kraken with 311, you could start storing those calculates onto ships who couldn't normally calculate, essentially giving them a little force point for the time that they're hanging out with the relay. But yeah, Kraken, an amazing pairing. Unfortunately, with only 2 loadout, you don't get too many options. Shell or independent, and then obviously what kind of team are you getting put into? Just an absolute standout, in my opinion, as you don't have to bring more than one of them to be successful. We do have some other 2-point vultures. They kind of got flipped around, changed a little bit. We saw the Calrodo holdouts. Those are the organics. They got bumped up to 3 points. Iron Assembler as well. He was the staple 2-pointer. Previously, he's up to 3 points for the season. Though he did get a hefty 12 loadout increase, which means he can get a hull upgrade and have extra time to repair himself and other vultures. So that's kind of cool. And then regular customizable DFS 081 also goes back up to 3 points with a huge loadout increase, which is just the opposite for some other pilots. Like I said, 311 taking 2 point spot. And the Precise Hunters are also now 2 points. So a lot of swapping there about who is the cheaper vultures. The Precise Hunter is an interesting choice. We don't normally see them because they were kind of banned from banned. They were the more expensive vultures, so we didn't traditionally look at them as much. But now they are with only 4 loadout and a cannon slot. I don't believe they can actually equip any cannons currently other than jamming beam.
Yeah, just jamming.
Right. So, and then they're going to be taking independent. Probably is the only thing they could realistically use their loadout for, independent and jamming beam. So,
yeah,
if you want a little handful of them, sprinkle in the Precise Hunters. They do have that Predator-like ability. I don't think there's any restrictions on it. Is it range 1 to 2?
Nope. While you perform an attack, if the defender is in your bullseye, you may reroll one blank result.
Blank result. That's true. So it's not.
Yeah.
It's not
This,
any result.
yeah,
But
it's not any result,
again,
but I mean,
combines
if
well
you're
with
if
having
you're
2
yeah,
calculates.
if you have 2 calculates, then yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So I like those grappling struts, jamming beam, independent. You can sprinkle them in. They're also I3 if you're like, I don't like those low initiative vultures. That's not a bad value pick if you'd prefer a more aggressive way to play the vulture. Of course, the Hull Charles are still out there. They have the same 2 loadout that I was talking about before.
Well, you get the Siege of Coruscant ones too, though. They
Yeah,
get
that's
ion.
true. The sieges do get ion missiles,
But they
and
get ion and contingency protocol.
yeah,
Okay.
but they don't have struts.
Yeah, I love
Well, they
this.
have the different types. They have the
Right.
strut override, but I mean, they work out pretty well because if you have 2 of them on your list, they could, it basically just forces people to shoot them if you're trying to protect somebody else.
It is interesting that
Not forces, but
those
it
2
encourages.
Those 2 and 081, the other Siege of Coruscant droid, are also 2 points. And remember, if you are using the Siege of Coruscant, you can also bring an independent droid. So I didn't fly it, but I was theorizing bringing the 3 Siege of Coruscant vultures. And then also 311, but at 311 gets to be independent, and he slings that calculate into those network vultures. So kind of bending the rules there on the standardized independent calculations.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I
think.
Go ahead.
I think the vultures in general. I think there's still a lot of play that you can check out with them. The DFS 311 Doofus is definitely a standout at 2 points with that independent calculations, giving a Palpatine-like effect with no board knowledge Palpatine essentially.
Well,
I mean, start of engagement.
Start of engagement's a lot of information.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but yeah, pretty good.
So I think I don't know if we'll see a ton of vulture swarms like we have seen in the past, but
I've been trying to put together
sprinkling
builds.
them in. Yeah.
But yeah, once you start getting like 6 vultures, like 5 to 6 vultures in your squad, man, I still feel like you start, instead of having like the force multiplier, like having more would be better. I do think that like less and less they work successful, less and less they could hang out near each other, less and less they could jump onto rocks once you start getting too many of them on the board. But 2 or 3
also
not too bad.
Yeah. And I think, for the most part, just because with all of the changes that we're going to go over, you'll see why people probably will opt away from choosing too many of them, because some of the other options just got way better.
Yeah. I mean, slap an energy shell on any of these guys and send them out to fight is not a bad idea.
Especially if you just want like a 2-point objective piece. Like 311 is an amazing objective piece. Just out there, literally any objective it is great.
Yep. Threatening to grab any of the button pressing ones, or just lingering.
Button pressing, just being in the middle of chance and saying you're going to shoot this 2-point vulture for.
I was going to say these vultures do really look good in both chance and assault because
when they don't blow up in one shot, yeah, they look amazing when they take more than one shot to blow up.
I don't know their power levels yet, but I like the interesting flip that we got some kind of a new rotation of vultures to try out for a while. But yeah. Interesting. I'm certainly building more lists with them. I'm not necessarily flying them as much as I want. I get about 6 vultures deep, and I'm just like, no, we've gone off the deep end. No, get out of here. We can't just always spend our last 12 points on like 6 vultures or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, some interesting building there. The 3.1s scare me. I don't want to invest in that much, but they have a pretty big loadout these days. So that has to help out. So let's go on though to the other Servants of Strife ship, if I'm remembering that expansion that came out 5
nailed
years
it.
ago.
Servants of Strife Squadron Pack.
Oh wow.
That has the only way you can get the Boba Lab 22 Starfighter. And of course, big headline out here. 4-point General Grievous goes down a squad value and doesn't lose any loadout. How is that balanced at all? James?
Well, so let's go to the points board upgrade
Points
board
updates
here. Solus 1 title goes from 0 points to 9 points. That's a 9,000,000% increase. Huge change for Solus 1. So you actually have to pay for it. And then,
as a note, the two here with the title upgrade, Grievous and Want, basically lost 9 loadout.
Yeah.
Perbium plating, the other upgrade that is tied to the Boba Lab, is only 2 points.
Stayed at 2, yeah.
So basically, you get Grievous with Impervium and Solus. If you want to go something like, I don't know, anything else.
If you don't want to go fancy with like Prockets or Outmaneuver or something like that.
But then, 9 points for 2 extra health is just...
Potentially 4 extra health with those Imperviums. We're so used to Beskar.
Well, I was talking about the 9 points. Because the Impervium, you can still get the Impervium with the other stuff.
That's true.
So, yeah.
I don't know. 7 health that can be up to 9 health.
I've seen him throw 2
rerolls.
Yeah, and the rerolls all over the place. When Grievous is Grievousin, he can be just as good as like Boba Fett out there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
defensive reroll, offensive rerolls. Naturally, he's got linked repositions into focus. He's very good, except for if he has to face down an enemy one-on-one.
Yeah, those 2 banks as his best blue, it looks real silly. But with his natural tankiness, he can do those like 1 hards and stay in the fight, and just deal with the stress. So
I have been only putting Impervium and Solus 1 on him, and he is still always the best ship in my squad. I always be like, well, it just comes down to Grievous. You just gotta destroy these 2 ships. He'll go do it. He'll get it done.
He will do it. Yeah, and very, very consistent.
With the Solus 1, I've felt enemies just like give up on him. Like, oh, we got his shields down, and they're like, first crit, Imperviumed. Next, it's hit crit, Imperviumed. And they're like, okay, so I've shot this thing 5 times, and how much health do I have left to go? I'm like, oh, you still have like 4 more to go.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I'm giving up on that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in something like Chance, where they're like, I've done like 5 damage to this thing. How many more do I get half? He's like, oh, I think you still need like 2 more to get half, dude.
Well, not exactly. But I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. When you just lay into that, oh, hit, crit, and Grievous blanks out, and you're like, yeah, we did some good damage to him. We just
shield, Impervium.
Yeah, and you're like, phew. So they, to me, I have just forgotten how good Impervium plating was. We've been boasting how good Beskar is. Beskar is like 6-point upgrade. With you gotta be blah 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 in the arc, blah blah blah. Look at the crit kind of stuff, right? Impervium just asks, "Is it a ship? Did it try to hurt the ship? Because it will protect you." I forget what Beskar says. Is Beskar?
You just gotta be in front. You gotta be looking at him. Yeah.
Be looking at him. All right. Well. 8 out of 33 pilot cards, so most of those are going to be ships.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grievous, I think there's probably other builds for him, like Outmaneuver or something like that. But
I think at Grievous you want to keep it as is.
Yeah,
but
the tankiness is what I'm looking for.
But you do get some nice I mean, a couple of the other belly rubs are playable as well, and may even fit better into your list depending on what the list is. What Tambor is a great example because he could do the soulless one plus Kraken.
He's got
So
that relay, which General
yeah, so
Grievous does not.
yeah, so if you need a relay carrier that can also contribute offensively, what is probably the better choice.
Yep. If you need the relay, he gets
Yeah,
passive
and then his ability
rerolls
also
as well.
he gets the rerolls on offense. He gets so this one gives him the defensive rerolls, right?
Defensive
Yeah.
rerolls. Yep.
Yeah, so
And
he'll
the
get
two
the offensive,
hull.
defensive rerolls because of his ability with the calculate, and then Kraken being able to do things. Yeah, it's
doing his
quite-
best impression of Grievous out there.
His best impression. Yeah. If you get Kraken, I believe you don't get Impervium. But those are the choices. Those are the hard choices you got to make. For old
You can go down to K2 before
K2?
and get Impervium.
But then your relay doesn't help you.
That's fair.
I know. It's tough. I've been looking at Want, actually trying to put both of them into the same list. Originally I had like Hull, I think Elusive, Hull, Impervium on Want, and then the title on Grievous. But I was trying to look at switching them around, like going out maneuver Grievous and then Solus 1 Wat Tambor while they're flying in the same list.
Interesting. Well, we also did see Captain Seer. That is he gives friendly droids crack shot. Also went down in squad cost down to 4, so know that all of the Belba Labs are 4 squad points, but also did lose 10 loadout value, so can't obviously doesn't have the title upgrade on this bar at all. He does have the tactical relay slot if you wanted to use that, but it's going to take up a good chunk of your 7 loadout.
Right, if you take one of the good ones,
no talent.
Pinata or Kraken, you lose out on Impervium too. So
exactly, yeah.
Tough choices there. Seer's crack shot ability or calc shot is crazy strong, especially when he can give organics that ability with Kraken relay.
Yeah,
I will say, if you're bringing Seer, he better be your relay carrier because without a relay, he was wasting so much of his loadout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can't get hull upgrade. Can only get Impervium and Baffle. Not great. So he is a little limited in that aspect, but there's a reason you're bringing him, and it's to hold calculates or get extra calculates, whatever the case may be. Again, and actually Seer, another great person to pair with 311. Talking about that board knowledge, well, just throw the calculate to the person who's got the bullseye lined up, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because that is like right when you need to know it.
That's when all the ships are moving. Exactly.
That would be interesting. I now that you say you're saying all the right things, Will.
I know. 311. That's why. To be fair, that's why 311 was priced up for a couple seasons because he was
a couple seasons. Since like Separatist release, like that first season, he was like, I get to play, and then after that, it's
whenever Independent came out, whenever the Tri-Fighters and Independent came out.
Yeah.
He unfortunately had to take a back seat because that was too good.
But I'm glad to see him back out because he is just enabling all of these other ships to be even better.
I know, right?
We also see the other Belbalobs get a little bit of increase. I mean, I would say a little bit, a lot of it increase. The Featheron, Outra, Autopilot.
Sorry. I was trying to pull up their
what?
Their loadouts, their action bars specifically. Remember that autopilot is a droid. It doesn't even have a focus. It has calculates. But the Skokin Ace. I've actually.
They're not bad. I mean, you can literally fly five belly rubs if that's what you want to play,
Oh,
and it'll
yes.
be similar to flying. So, for example, you can do General Grievous, Impervium Solus. You can do Wat Tambor with Impervium, Shield Upgrade, and Kalani, which works without
No,
Decalculate.
you
That's
don't.
the
You
one
want
that.
hull upgrade if you got Impervium.
Yeah, and Impervium Hull Upgrade Predator. There you go.
No,
There.
I'm saying General Grievous with Solus and Impervium.
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay, yeah.
What?
Well, you can even do that, but whichever. But the whole point
It's all the
is you
same.
can get because the Kalani gives everyone free
The free locks.
free locks. That's why I was saying it. And they move first, so they can get their focus, and then get the free locks. But then get 4 Skulking Aces with Impervium, Predator, and Hulk.
That's the exact
Uh,
loadout I had as well.
yeah.
For I
So they
mean,
get free rolls. They get potential locks. They get
not bad.
they got the same health as an X-wing, plus the tossing of crits
Yeah.
with the Impervium.
Could be
And
8
then on top
health,
of that, they
7 to
get
8 health.
and then they get the barrel roll focus and the boost focus without the penalties that the X-wings get. I mean, that's kind of just way better 5 X-wing list. And then again, you got what, especially Grievous. You've got Grievous out there menacing people.
I like it. I like how you
I mean, you
snuck
can
in the
even
relay
do,
as well.
not that you want to, but you have the potential. Instead of doing the hull upgrade, you got the potential to go Impervium outmaneuver on all of them, and now you got a bunch of little tiny wedges.
Oh
Like,
my
Yeah,
goodness.
you
yeah,
can.
you can go Impervium.
Outmaneuver scary.
You can have 5 ships. Well, 4, because you probably don't want an Grievous, but you can have 4 ships with Impervium plus outmaneuver. Throwing 3
Yeah.
dice.
It's looking scary. Has made me reevaluate these kind of non-limiteds. Mobile Lab's a great chance for it because there's only like 3 pilots for it. So, um, pretty cool to see.
Mhm.
Some new variations there on old favorites. Speaking of old favorites, we are going into the Sith Infiltrator. That's right. The Sith large base ship out there. We have only one change for squad pilots, and that looks to be the customizable Dooku Darth Tyrannus. Goes down to 6 points. So 066 at 5. Both Dooku's now at 6, and Darth Maul at 7. Of course, the Dark Courier, not recommend, but available for 6 points as well. We do see 066 did get a relay. What? Not my
Lost it.
Yasby.
Yeah, lost its
Oh,
crew
that's
and got a relay.
title. Oh, that's
Oh, it's
right.
title. Yeah, title. Sorry. Yeah.
I was like, what? I've been trying to put Kraken back on this thing for for so long. And now
I got title.
it does get the Scimitar title now. Lost its crew slot. Still has 12 loadout. I don't know. I'm not excited about 066. When you defend, spend a calculate to perform an action. I still think you need a way to have him have 2 calculates. If only we could find a way to give him 1 extra calculate each round. But still, I don't think he's maybe what you're looking at a 5-point ship. Now, these Force users, on the other hand, Dooku,
Reforced Force users.
Yeah, and Darth Maul, 7 points with his bonus attacks. Darth Maul specifically keeps their high loadout. Dooku's is slashed down to 13, which to me, 13 is not enough. So it really forces you to find out what exactly do you need. Do you need Emperor Palpatine to be handing out stress and getting that extra force point? Or do you need something like a tactical relay? You're going to be leading a bunch of vultures out there. The only thing you can't do is like a proton torpedo. He's got 13 loadout. Proton torpedoes are 14. So you'd have to get a different upgrade than that. But yeah, to me, I haven't really found like the exact Dooku build because every list I put him in, I'm always looking for something different. Do I want, you know, the probe droids? Do I want what are those commandos? What are they called? Death Watch Commandos. Can I get both?
Mm-hmm.
You can get both. I'm pretty sure that's. I've looked at that. I was just launching stuff. Things come out of me. That's that build.
I forgot those things even existed. I haven't seen those in a while.
More things can take him than you would think.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they are. I haven't seen
Doesn't
them.
mean they are. No. Best with the drop seat, obviously. The sideways drops. But yeah. Dooku, very interesting at 6 points. Just a little light on loadout, so you gotta be exactly sure what role he's filling in your squad. And to me, he doesn't have a exact loadout. Darth Maul, to me, still very scary. Both to risk on the table, but also kind of scary for your enemies, as they gotta deal with something that can shoot potentially twice per round if they have enough force. I don't dip my toes into them, though I have been wanting to fly 3 6-point ships and 311, and Dooku was one of those 3 6-point ships. But haven't tested it out. You guys got any thoughts on the Infiltrator? Would you be brave enough to put one on the board?
I mean, I think they're still good ships. I think they run into issues when they get stressed and they can't turn around.
Yeah, they're a large base who wants to 2 sloop or
5K.
5K.
Yeah,
5K
in this specific faction, I don't see a scenario where 6 points are not better used in a 2 and 4, in 3 2s, or in 2 3s. Like all those 3 variations are. So you can get the 8 one. One of the droids plus a 4-pointer is going to get you way more mileage than any of these 6-pointers, or 2 3-pointers will get you way more mileage than these guys.
Do you know
what? I think they're all still caught. I would reach for them if the ones that are 6 or 5, then we're talking.
Yeah, if I can get if I can get Siege of Coruscant Dooku for 5 points, like I would consider him far more often than I do right now, which is almost
he would still not be an automatic. Like these ships, I think at 5, like if you lower everyone except 066, if you lower them all by 1, I would consider them, but none of them would still be an automatic.
Dooku,
none,
because he can remain cloaked until like right before he shoots. Your opponent kind of has to willingly let you decloak though by shooting you. He's definitely the one I look at, but obviously it just magnifies their biggest flaw, and it's the 1 agility. You could hit hard all day. You can drop bombs or launch your probe droids or whatever, but if you can't stay alive long enough to do 6 points worth of damage,
and it's hard to stay on target with those guys. I mean, I know
the low initiative Dooku, the initiative 3. Well, now he's got to move before everybody, so you got to make sure that your 5K is clear and things like that, right? So it's difficult. Definitely a challenge ship. Not that we haven't seen him done well. What was it?
Yeah, I feel like the ceiling is very high, but the floor is like right below the ceiling. Like you have to be so good just to get like the smallest amount of benefit out of it, but also
their reliance on like hate because they're so force starved all the time as well. They have some issues, but let's keep it going then, because it sounds like we're running out of positive things to say. Fun. They look great. They got articulated wings. It's the best thing I can say about them.
Very easy.
So we'll go on to another ship that kind of got a big shake up here, the Hyena-class droid bomber. Now, if you've been looking at original points, which I'm double checking, there's an update here.
Yeah.
This is September
Uh,
rules. This we have a correction to be made that you'll see in Yasby and the other
yeah. So
list builders.
What
it
is that?
turns out the Bactoid prototype Siege of Coruscant, from the patch notes here, says turns out 5 health, 2-point ships are super efficient.
Oh wait,
Compi-
they had that one down at 2.
They had
yeah.
him at 2, the Siege of
Oh yeah.
Coruscant version.
Yeah, yeah. So combined with a surprisingly strong homing missile that only requires one of them to have a locked fire, leaving a shared calculate for defense. Surprisingly good at being anti-ace at I1. CIS strength is being able to put more ships on the table than their opponent, but this was proving just a little bit too strong, which 100% agree.
Yeah,
The
two
2-point
two
2-point
hyenas for
Bactoid,
4 points was
yeah,
too much.
especially because some hyenas are 4 points.
Yeah. There is a 4-point hyena.
Yeah.
It's the ones you can't customize. As a note. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
32C and 4 bolts from their Siege of Coruscant. They are 4 points now, but rightfully so.
They're
They
both
have
very good.
very
Yeah.
good abilities. Let's see. What were the other changes here? No squad point changes for most of them. They mostly remain at 3. We did see customizable versions of those. So basically swapped the siege and customizable pricing. So the customizables are down to just 3 points. That is the 2 named ones, 32C, who does have access to a relay, but with only 3 loadout, can only bring Kalani. I believe
Or
that's...
TV94.
Oh yeah, well,
which is the
not even try to get that one to work.
when a ship shoots a primary attack
Add
against
2
a
dice.
defender in its bullseye, if there are only 2 dice, it may spin a calculate to add a hit result. So basically, at range 2 to 3, when you're firing, you can spin a calc to add a hit in bullseye.
Not great. It sounds amazing. Spend a calc.
Yeah.
Generate a hit.
Yeah. Yeah. Spin a
too many
calc, generate a
hits.
hit. Like what more do you need? A lot of restrictions, apparently.
Ugh,
because it's really hard to do.
So you could try it. But mostly you're gonna see Kalani. It does have the option for independent, but it kind of breaks the whole thing that you're doing with 32C. I did find him the most limiting to build, basically. It was Kalani or fire control system, and not really other options for anything else. 404, customizable version, does have 9 points of loadout with a payload, missile, torpedo, configuration, and mod slot. I'm trying to pull up what I obviously you could just do the big advanced proton torpedo, 6 dice advanced proton torpedo from 404. You have network calculations, so you can actually pretty easily double modify that. But I'm thinking, let's see if I remember right. Yeah, energy shells, homing torpedoes, seismic charges could also be divided those 9 points up into 3 different upgrades, and now you kind of have a what do I want to say? An attack for all ranges. You got your long range energy shells, your medium range homing torpedoes, and then of course your 4 dice primary at range 1, no weapon needed, and then seismics out the back for blowing up the rock you might have been landed on a second ago. Certainly an interesting way to build them. I didn't really see anything else too crazy with 404. I mean, you can bring proxy mines, I'm pretty sure. Proxy mines and energy shells. So I guess that's something that would be worth considering. Either way, you're probably going to put energy shell charges on this guy and not independent. Because there's no torpedoes that require calculate, so you can't really independent while shooting good. So
No, advanced proton torpedo or nothing else.
I guess you could go independent and then like proxy mines or a bomb or whatever, probe droids, something like that. But I hear you though. You could go afterburners. Don't forget afterburners. Sneak into range 1 for those 4 dice attacks.
Yeah. Advanced proton, 6 dice.
Certainly threaten it. Very much so.
Yeah,
very scary.
311 throws you a calculate. You have a friend at range 1 to give you another calculate, so now you have basically a double modded
2
advanced
calculates,
proton.
6 dice. You might need some more calculates if you're rolling 6 dice.
Yeah.
But yeah. If you're looking for like, I need a ship out here who will draw aggro away from other ships.
Yeah, 3.404 will do it. Yeah.
4/4,
Yeah,
taking a
because
lock on somebody out there. This will
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, that's basically a jam token because they will do any reposition to not take
Yeah,
to not take that attack.
That's a no-go zone. So I think customizable has a place. Certainly the highest initiative bomber, one of the few droids at initiative 4, outside of tri-fighters, I believe.
Yeah, I think the only. Yeah.
I think you have to be a tri-fighter to be initiative 4 or better. We did see, as mentioned earlier, I forget what London, UK, was it the UK Games Expo? I forget now, but
yeah,
the exact tournament. But they were showing off the triple bombardment drones with 9 loadout and proxy mines going down to only 7. You can easily fit delayed fuses, proxy mines, and of course your landing struts. 3 of those, Sharon calculates, launching proxy mines, jumping onto obstacles can certainly be a puzzle for your opponent. Especially if your opponent's never played against them or hasn't seen them in a long time, they can surprise you. One of the, I wouldn't say few ships, but one of the examples of blocking being important in X-Wing still, being blocked by a bombardment drone almost guarantees you're going to eat that launched mine the following round. And now you can't even shoot at them very good because they're blocking you. So it creates a puzzle your opponent has to find the solution to. Marcel, you said it that it's not. Well, I think you were talking more about it in Snare, but
yeah, I mean the thing with those is you just do either you avoid it because they do move early and they have very predictable movements, especially if they're stressed. They only have
or like coming off a rock or something like that.
Yeah, so they can be predictable, especially if your opponent is flying them in a block, like in a formation, which all of my opponents have. I don't know that I would necessarily always. I understand that they want to share tokens, actually, but there's also something to say about just giving them independent calculations and just letting them. Similar to when
you don't get proxy mines if you get independent, so they're 1 point.
How much is the? Oh, it's.
Well, I guess you don't get delayed fuses then.
You don't get delayed fuses. You get the other thing. Yeah, but if you're flying them like separately alone, not separately, but if you're flying them like all 3 in different locations, they don't have to be married to each other, and then you're doing better crowd control.
Sure.
But yeah, I think overall they're tough to kill at 5 health. I mean, you have to have a concerted like alpha strike on them. It's not like you're not going to one shot them. You have to get maybe three well modified ordnance shots into them. I would say. I don't know what's the average. I don't know the math, but I would assume you need 3 really good shots to kill them.
They should probably survive 2.5 shots.
Yeah, so you need about
2.5 3 die focus shots.
Yeah. So if you have like like an alpha strike. It'll take your whole alpha strike, or at least 3 ships on your alpha strike to kill one. And then by the next round, they're bumping you, and yeah, so it's a tough puzzle. You just got to get around them and not be in front of them, or you have
Or
to
behind them.
or you have to accept your fate and choose which ship is going to be the recipient of that in order to do what you need to do. Like, you just sacrifice something. Turns out Tabson is a pretty good sacrifice for them.
Yeah. We also see the Separatist Bomber, Initiative 3, and the Techno Union Bomber, Initiative 1, get some increased loadout. But I doubt that you're ever going to see any of the generic bombers out there. We're probably going to see more of the named ships, the Bactoid prototypes, 404, and bombardment drones.
Yep, I would have to agree. Cheaper is better. It seems like in a lot of these situations. So, sticking with the 3-pointers with the most loadout. Let's keep it going here. Hyenas, they're interesting. You'll see them quite often as a value pick for 3 points. Speaking of value picks for 3 points, the Nantex class starfighter has 2 ships that went down to just 3 points. If you're not familiar with the Nantex, that's the Geonosian ship who has a 3-force turret. Cannot put its turret out the back, but can put its 2-dice turret left, right, forward, and has that 3-dice bullseye. I believe the originator of the bullseye 3-dice weapon. Now, Brewer-Kret is an I5. He only gets 2 loadout at 3 points, so like Deadeye or Marksmanship, but not both. Because he only has 2 talent slots, nothing else. Gorgle, the I2, who can help people fix their ships. He does have 7 loadout with a talent and modification, which I believe gives him enough for gravitic deflection. So he does get rerolls for tractored ships, which probably going to be him most of the time. But if he's flying with other Nantex, you can see some value out of that.
You could also do juke, or
sure.
I have juke, crack shot, anything like that. There is also, or
I like juke on low initiatives. I like juke on high initiatives.
That's fair. You also do have the option of taking snapshot.
Yep. That's a front arc weapon, which means you could have
that's a front arc weapon to the side. Yeah,
that's true. I have looked at that.
So yeah, that is interesting. And well, I was gonna say, is there any way to get around that disarm? But I don't think there is. But I doubt you're gonna be doing any of this Gorgle actual ability.
I don't. You had to fly him with Bo-Katan, which now we're creating some Rune Goldberg machine where they're fixing each other's penalties, but not actually netting much.
Anything? Yeah, like half an action. Yeah.
Yeah, for shenanigans. But there is a combo out there. Gorgle fixes in the system phase, and then they both clear all their bad tokens from Bo-Katan. It's a bit silly.
You can do a crack target computer or crack baffle.
That's true. I mean, you can go heavy on that bullseye. Just be the bullseye only. Never rotate your arc. So yeah, interesting ships. I think a lot more play with Gorgle, obviously, because the bigger loadout. Brewer-Kret at I5 though. Board information means a lot to a fragile ship that all turns itself into a Z95, basically, more or less.
Yeah,
striker,
more or less.
Turns into the defensive profile of a striker.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So the board knowledge of where and when to rotate / barrel roll or reposition, whatever, with it. certainly has an advantage to Bureaucrat. I tried Bureaucrat. He was kind of, I don't know. I mean, he held down a whole flank, but didn't really do a lot. Shot some 2 dice turret attacks. I never really caught range ones. They were much more distracted on the other side of the board, so I couldn't really engage. I mean, a 3-point ship that could shoot a 4 dice range 1 attack, and his I5, gotta be something to that. His loadout's hurting him though. One more loadout for Predator. Come on.
Come on.
Come on. They shut that down apparently in playtesting, but we do have some other changes though. Other than those 2 3-point Nantex, we do have Sunfak with a increase in loadout. Stays the same at 5, but gets 21 loadout now. Chertek is in a similar position, stayed at 4 points, but gets a big increase in loadout, which means these things are taken in snare. Chertek and Sunfak, which makes them very scary ships, gives their tractor beam or tractor token to somebody else. But now Sunfak can be taking things like afterburners, shield upgrade, gravitic, things to combo off of that as well. And same thing with Chertek. So Chertek's only initiative 4. So very, I flew him, and he was very hard to keep on the board. Even though I had an evade and 2 calculates at one point in time, still wasn't enough to keep him surviving for very long. Sunfak, people were really enjoying, especially the ensnare at I6. A lot more people flying small bases rather than like large base turrets. But man, I mean, the moment you see like a medium base, you got problems. You can't. You can still dump the token off to them, but you get almost no benefit for yourself or a debuff for them. Just like a little barrier.
Yeah, like against the list that I've been flying, where I have two mediums and a large. Sunfak was real sad because I kept my small bases away from him.
Right, they have to hunt the small bases. That's kind of the problem with Sunfak, is you have to hunt them. Potentially, you can get Chertek if you fly both of them. That's not recommended. Don't spend 9 points on both of them. That's a bad idea. But for one, thrown in as as the lead ace flanker out there, I think we have some potential. The non-limiteds still shunned. Too many nightmares of people flying 6 of these things. So.
Yep, cannot take ensnare at 10 points.
No, well, you never could take ensnare, but ensnare is 10 points, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, they still can get Predator crack. So.
What, the Petronics?
Yeah, but they're 5 points though.
Yeah, nobody's gonna use that. Yeah.
No one's using those. You can get soon too.
And it's the 4,
some Packerman. So probably won't see him.
You can get the Stalgians for 4 with crack shot.
It's only 5 though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just sneak in Brewer and Gorgle and 311 to get your 6-ship squad. Maybe not as spammy. I think they have found that right place of fragile pocket ace or the most threatening ship on the board with your I6 Sunfak, depending on what you're flying. But you'll probably see people trying them. People love these Nantex, so expect to see those Sunfaks out there.
Yeah, Sunfak is a monster in a world where there are no medium and large bases.
Ugh, yeah, I know, right?
Especially Afterburner. Oh, the Afterburner double boost.
Ooh, yeah. Bank boost, then forward boost. Yeah.
Yeah, the 5 straight bank boost to come out of nowhere.
They will catch you turn 1. They're a turn 1 person of note, a suspect.
Yeah, turn one tractor you.
Yeah. Keep it terrifying. But let's keep it going here. We got a couple more. I don't know how many more. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 5th one. So we got a few more to go here, but get less and less pilots. Now, a favorite of mine, the droid tri-fighter. We saw some increases for price. We have the dial peaking Flak Arfak prototypes. Never know how to pronounce that. The Waka Flockas, if you will. The ones that can peek at your dial, the customizable ones, they're up to 4 points. Get out of here with your dial peeking. The other ones going up to 4 points are the Siege of Coruscant 347 and the T81, which is not the Siege of Coruscant T81. That's customizable T81. T81 gets the locks. 347. No, I have that backwards. 347 gets the free locks. T81 gets either rerolls or calculate use, if I'm not mistaken.
Is anything to do with dial peaking good? Because I mean, have you guys run into it?
That's a great
going into
question.
the like lock into the Afflex.
Definitely not for the Afflex. They used to be flown in extended tournaments because they were only 3 points, but they're banned in most standard tournaments. I would say overall, except for I think just Cassian Crew, one of the easiest dial peakers to use because it's range 2.
Well, it's also a dial changer, so that's kind
it
of
also is a dial changer, so it's doubling down on its
peaking
value.
change. Yeah, it's
The
peekaboo.
Speakaboo.
What it is.
That's probably the most powerful, and I think the only one I've actually seen like have use. I flew the dial changing droid in Republic, but honestly, most of it's either getting you information you should just be able to discern from the game board, or it's probably too expensive that you could actually be using a better upgrade than a dial changer or dial peaking. That's kind of my general philosophy on it. Actually, Lambolo asked me a similar question of what's my kind of current state on the dial peaking, dial changing. I was really like knee jerk, like Grandpa yelling at clouds, be like, get those dial changing off my lawn. I've come around to it, and I honestly think you're wasting your time. It's a handicap and a crutch, and you're probably better off just getting a better upgrade or a different upgrade than. Though I haven't flown like Kara or anything recently, with objectives, I feel like it's kind of known before someone could just turn their whole list away, right? You guys both line up for the joust and you both fake out and turn away, right? Where dial peaking would have really helped you in that aspect. But now I know you have to go to that objective, so you're gonna have something over there, and if you don't, cool, I'll just get the points for it, right? So to me, with scenarios, I don't think dial peaking or dial changing for that matter is as
well. Dial changing is still good, and like Seasoned Navigator on Ketsu, for example, at I5 is still good because Ketsu.
I mean, I was changing my dial with Anakin at I6, so same thing with like.
So dial changing is good, but dial peaking not as good.
No, very rarely are you going to be in the situation where you're like, I really need to know where this dude's going. He's either going towards the objective or he's leaving or coming to shoot you. So, which of those three is it? I'm sure someone investing more in their time can give you a better answer.
Okay.
But we should wrap up. Not a hard cap at 90 minutes, but I hear what you're saying. We're going to have to do some of these quick, though. I'll say I've been building a lot of lists with tri-fighters. None of them actually hit the table. I'm still concerned about Volan Doss being fragile at 4 points. Still concerned about these the Tri-Fighters only having a single calculate or a single evade, and if they're doing networked, because then they have to like fly next to other ships, so they need to like pair up or something like that. It's always a hassle to get them a decent amount of mods. The only probably quote unquote good ones are the fake Soontir Siege of Coruscant flak prototypes, but they're 4 points though, so it is an investment that you should hopefully get a return out of. I haven't been too excited about them. All of them feel like on par with what I would expect their points to be. I just don't know quite what style of list I want them to be in. Do you know what I'm trying to say about that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a standout flanker or anything. Volan Doss is still good, but he's losing loadout now, and illicits are getting more and more expensive, so hard to say. He is technically a bounty hunter. Get a tracking fob. Now recommended. But yeah, I mean, as far as 3-point ships go, and ships with like AC ships, they do feel AC. I'm just always concerned that they don't have enough modifications to stay alive. So, let us know what you guys think. What should we be looking at for Tri-Fighters? So I'm still kind of a loss on them. There's a lot of them with good loadout, but I only want to pay 3 points for them. They're not going to give me a good one at 3 points anymore, which is fair enough. Which segues nicely into a ship I know very much about, and it's also 3 points. In the HMP droid gunships, we have the Geonosian prototypes going down. They're a double pip ship, or pilot rather, and they go down from 4 points to 3, taking the spot of the other two of the single pipped droids, 047 and 286. They get bumped up to 4 points. They still have access to all the crazy stuff: bombs, crew, double missiles, and tactical relays. But I don't care about those. I want or use all my time to just talk about Geonosian prototypes. 3 points, 8 loadout. 8 load's very specific because with energy shells costing 2, and in my opinion, their 3 best upgrades only cost 6. That's Kraken, the relay, so you, the Kraken carrier, and 2 other ships can hold on to calculates, or synced laser cannon, actually doing damage out that front arc, or ion cannon, because honorable mention out there because it shoots a 4 dice range 1 attack, and it's control. Turns out when you can side slip and the enemy's ionized, it's much easier to keep shooting that same target, even if you can't K-turn behind them. I was synced only for the longest time, but I'm pretty sure it was Christian Jespers who I saw flying, and he put Kraken on one of his Geonosian prototypes, and that combination of 311, the Kraken Geonosian prototype for 5 points, and then throwing, hard to describe, but you throw a calculate to someone and you hold it. So now someone who shouldn't have a calculate has one going into turn 2. Then during turn 2, you have the chance to throw a second calculate. So now 2 ships that shouldn't have calculates can get calculates going into the initial combat, which I think is just crazy. And my mind started to unravel about the different possibilities, which it made me end up flying 3 Nantex in a list with these guys. The 2 Geonosians in 311. But the power that Kraken one, or honestly just a Synced Laser one, has provided, I don't even care about their ability. It was cute to run them with other Geonosians. Don't even need a ability. They need a good cheap platform and a decent gun like the Synced Lasers or Energy Shells. To be honest with you, I can't recommend the other HMPs right now, unless they're going to be your third, right? You bring 2 Geonosians and then another HMP. That makes sense to me, but I have just been enamored by the Geonosian prototypes. I've fallen in love with the HMP all over again. Those side slips, oh, stop, hard to side slip, stop, hard to side slip. It's just such a weird way to fly. Absolutely amazing. Don't know what you're doing with the other ones at 4 points, but that 3-pointer though, put it in every list. I wouldn't be so bold to say that you need both Geonosians, but man, that one Geonosian prototype with 311, such a value for 3 points, or for 3 and 2 points, 5 points total. A third of your, I can't math right now. It's getting too late. Let's move on. To the Firesprays. We saw both Boba and the Separatist Racketeer go down to 6 points. So big boon for them. That's an extremely cheap fire spray. Some of the cheapest in the entire game. And then we did see
with like not a terrible ability either. While you defend, if there are no other friendly ships, a range 0 to 2. So if you're lone wolfing,
Lone Wolf Boba Fett out there,
you may change one of your blank results to a focus. Just
pretty good
every time you defend.
Yep. The problem is getting them modifiers, but Boba's got only 5 loadout, but crew, illicit, bomb, cannon, missile, and title for the Slave 1. Notably, you can't shoot front and back, so don't think about doing that. And you don't have a talent slot, so you can't be doing Lone Wolf on top of Boba Fett's ability.
Yeah, I would say maybe Ursa Wren Gunner.
Sure.
I don't think I see any crew in there that was like yelling at me.
No.
I
ended up putting on like a bomb and an illicit.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 upgrades I was looking for.
Yeah, Dead Man Seismics.
Yeah. I would think so. It ended up being an or situation. You get one good upgrade on Boba, make it worth it. I mean, false transponder codes for defense/offense is not too bad. Thermal detonators, terrible. Bring 4 bomb charges. I didn't think it was a bad idea either.
Yeah, because I definitely have seen thermals just do 2 damage right off from the first thermal. So
they're scary. They're very scary. People will not chase you if you still have bomb charges left.
Yeah. Heaven forbid you have 2 of them left, and someone's like, "Well, I only have like 2 health left." So
yeah, not a great idea. So I'll be interested to see what kind of list Boba Fett can squeeze into. The other one, the Racketeer, kind of boring. It was what inspired my 3. It was originally 3 Firesprays and a Vulture. But then I realized that Dooku was also 6 points. So I kind of changed it. I haven't got that one on the table. I'll give you an update on when I'm bold enough on late night X-Wing to fly a goofy list. Unfortunately, we've been always traditionally talking about buffs or positive things. We do have negative things to say about Jango and Zam. They're losing loadout for the same squad cost. In fact, Zam goes down 5 loadout. Jango only loses 1, but still puts a red number next to his, in his loadout category there. Slowly trickling down.
I mean, or got 5 loadout. Someone fly this ship.
Yeah, she's got all the slots. Yeah, I got the double cannon for proton cannons these days. Can do a lot. Only 7 points for aim to get that natural force point. So many
Yeah.
good things, but I mean, Django.
I mean, you don't even have
and
to worry about
Zam,
your crew slot. Trying to fill it with a force user. It's already built in.
True.
You
We'll
even
see.
get the veteran tail gunner.
It is nice of them that they let all these take the Slave 1 title.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Allowed.
All the same ship. But yeah, I mean, Firesprays have always been very good. I don't know their effectiveness these days. I know Zam's scary. A little bit less loadout should help on her being as scary as she can be. But not to me. Not much to say other than try out Boba at 5 points. Or 5 points. Whew, that would be a steal.
Whoa.
6 points. He's definitely one of the people who I was like, I always bring 7 vultures with him, right? That's got to be good, right?
5 point Firespray win.
It's gonna be Boba Fett here next season. Let me tell you, once people start flying him. But let's move it on because I don't think much new to say about them. They relatively stay in the same stratosphere as they always had been. So we'll move on to the Rogue class, one of the newer, if not the newest expansion here for CIS. Cad Bane remains the exact same. So it must have been a good spot here. Of course, upgrades change prices occasionally. The Dirge, who's been the other most popular rogue in this faction, has lost the Xanadu Blood title and 4 loadout. And let me tell you, it's still 6 points to bring a cannon of your choice. Proton, Ion, Synced, Heavy, whatever you want. All of those cost 6 points or less. So you can always bring your cannon. If you want to do some fancier stuff like, I don't know, Deadeye Shot, and some, I don't know, Electronic Baffle, I guess. I'm sure there's things you do with that talent slot, but to me, I'm still putting Dirge in lists. Hasn't slowed me down. I'm putting them in there with synced laser cannons as just a tanky ship at I-5.
It's hard for me to go away from protons with those guys for some reason. It's just I guess I just like rolling a lot of dice.
Spend a couple games never lining up bullseyes, and you'll switch over.
I'll do it real quick. Yep.
But it's fun, like chasing it, and it's fun when you get it. It's like a game inside a game.
I don't know if you can still bring it in Scum, but in Scum, when you could bring Marksman, Proton Cannon, and False Transponder codes, and live the dream of
when we get to the Republic, I'll tell you what my new game is. My new game inside a game in the Republic.
All right, I'll be excited to hear from you. Actually, I think we did Republic that week you missed.
Oh God!
No, I'm just joking.
My game inside a game is dead. Okay.
No. So yeah, I'm still flying Cad and Dirge. They're in my list currently as my 4-pointers, or a couple 4-pointers. Still very good, very effective. I have tried out these other ones, IG 101, 102, and 111. They got big loadout changes for them. They kept the cannons. I think whichever one, I can't remember their names versus their abilities, but the one that if someone better than them is attacking, they get to change a blank to an eyeball or blank to an evade.
102. Yeah.
102.
Yep. Initiative. They're all initiative 4, but he is. Oh, sorry. IG 111 is initiative 1. Yeah. IG 102 is if the attacker's initiative is equal to or greater than yours, so I4 or higher, you may change one of your blanks to a focus on defense.
Yep, so I thought that would be a natural combination with the independent calculations. And I think you get enough loadout for a cannon or 2. But it turns out the best thing about these rogues are their linked repositions. So just flying around with 2 calculates not as successful as I thought it was going to be.
And also the dead to rights. Like you lose the
Also
dead to
lost out on
rights
the dead to
with
rights,
with
so.
with the IGs. So you do take a huge hit going
Wait,
to
you
the
lose.
IGs.
IGs don't have that to rights.
No, they have
No.
they have
Oh
network
god.
calculations
Yeah,
or
no.
independent calculations if you spend the points for it. So
Okay, yeah, no, that's not good.
yeah, it makes Cat and Dirge still the best too. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing with Magna Guard protectors these days either.
Keeping them on the sideline.
I know. I feel it.
I mean, from them, I'm still. I mean, I'll go Cad Bane and Scum, but if I go with anybody, it's only going to be Dirge. I don't see myself flying anything other than Dirge for 4 points. I'm
Right.
just
I mean, this
better
is the
ship to.
faction where any droid ship can excel through the use of relays, right?
Mhm.
But I've been struggling to find success with them in the lists that I'm building. Though I still want 102 to be successful. I still think that ability is very good. I just don't know really the best way to take advantage of it. Then we got one last chassis, and it's got the fewest amount of pilots.
The best chassis in
Best chassis.
in CIS.
The Gauntlet. I mentioned Bo-Katan earlier. She actually lost loadout, but stayed at 6 squad cost. So you still get, I believe you actually get commandos, but you don't get drop seat. You get quite a few other things. For it, again, just 6 points. The unique Death Watch Warrior, which I still don't know if that's a printing error, but they are unique for some reason. You can only have one of these Death Watch Warriors. They're down to 6
Yeah.
points with 15 loadout.
Well, so you don't take 3 of them because that
I
would
know.
obviously be
It
overpowered.
would obviously be too good if you took 3 of them. But you can take 2 of these and something else. Those Death Watch Warriors actually has 15 loadout. So if you are trying to utilize the drop seat bay with the commandos, that's actually the pilot you're looking for. I don't know the value. Like I said,
It's 10 points. You still get 5 left, so you get a
contraband. This is the first upgrade I'm putting on any gauntlet is contraband. Which what I was gonna say about the infiltrators. No contraband. Feels weird for a large base ship that wants to 5K all the time. One of their, but they have 3/4, so right, no big deal. We do see a increase here pre-Vizsla. Pre-Vizsla was actually a favorite among CIS players for a while there. Pre-Vizsla does have the ability, while you perform an attack, if the defender's initiative is 3 or higher, equal to or greater than his initiative 3, you can spend their 2 charges, once recurring, to roll an additional die. So we're talking 5 dice range 1s, 3 dice arcs out the back, 4 dice range 1 rear arc attacks. Turns Pre-Vizsla into a Firespray, and we see it in cost reflected here to get a huge bonus and loadout up to 20 now. So you can do whatever you want with this guy. Of course, you know me, I'm slapping contraband cybernetics on him. Drop seat. Where's my Death Watch commandos? Gonna leave home without him. And I still got 7 points to play with. Not putting Ursa Wren on there. That's not canonically accurate. They would never be on the same ship together. So I don't know. Gentleman Grievous, sure. And clan training. It seems like a decent build. I don't know how much value you're going to get out of these gauntlets. Just like any large base, you really had to plan, all 7 or 8 rounds of the game to be able to maneuver this thing. It's got no K-turn. It only does the stop and swivel. It leaves you very vulnerable. That's why I always recommend contraband. You are stopping or swiveling or having to do some goofy maneuver to keep this thing in the fight. So it's almost necessary for the gauntlets. Even the Imperial ones. got illicit slots just for contraband. That's how much of a necessity it is for these ships. I don't know if I'm paying 7 points for Pre-Vizsla, but again, no, it's not really my.
It is.
It's not how I'm building style.
The
Building
question
my CIS.
is, are drop seats, are the commandos considered a device or remote?
They are a remote. They are not a device.
Okay, so you could if you could put Tom Merrick on it and then
Tom Merrick, the
your dial
DOA
picking.
The DOA card, Tom Merrick.
Yeah, you can throw it on there with the drop seat. It's it says what if the false friend condition is on is not assigned. No, that's how it goes. It says during the system phases of an enemy ship with Talmeric is at range 0 to 2, or a remote is at 0 to 2. Flip your dial face up. So it's basically dial peaking, but with Death Watch commandos being your. So basically, your commandos are out there like commanding, infiltrating,
spying on your comms and stuff, dude. I don't know. Talmeric is. I have zero opinion because he was banned, instant banned for having dial peaking. I've never seen it played.
I've never. I was just looking at the crew to see what fit. I didn't even know it existed until 6 seconds ago.
Again, though, this is the exact theory of like you could be going through all these requirements to just peek at somebody's dial, or you could just spend that 7 points on General Grievous and guarantee an extra hull for yourself. That's kind of what I'm talking about. I don't think it's as valuable. Prove me wrong, though. That is the point of the beta, is to be able to look at these lists or look at these points and give some feedback. Xwing.life, that's the name of the website, just like Yasby.app. Xwing.life, the X-Wing Alliance's website. Not only can you get these PDFs we were just viewing, you can write action reports, give them feedback on what kind of lists you're flying for these beta points. They want to know what you're doing so they can better make the points in the future. It's the whole point of the beta, which we are stressing how they're in fluctuation. There could be some things that could change at any moment. So that's why we're excited to check them out, excited to help look at what the future of X-Wing could be, a little preview of it. We'll take a review here before we go. What did you see as maybe some standouts? What are you excited to fly out of CIS?
I don't know if there's anything in there that I'm just super excited to see, but I know that there is a lot of good pieces in there. And I'm excited for someone to put those puzzle pieces together.
Fair enough.
I think it's interesting. I might, I think there's something to buy belly rubs. So,
okay,
either 5 never dying. Yeah, what would you get? You would get, with the belly rubs, you would get Impervium.
The aces go Hull, Predator, Impervium.
Yeah, so either doing Hull, Impervium, and Predator, or doing Impervium outmaneuver. On all of them, just having a bunch of very annoying 3-die guns.
You can't look everywhere, right?
No, I mean, if you got 5 ships with
4 in Grievous or so.
Or in Grievous, yeah.
Which
even though you can
has an
still do
outmaneuver-esque ability.
Yeah, or you can also do just go all 5 and say Grievous, you're only getting Impervium and so and this.
Sure.
Fight me. We're not here to live. We're here. Impervium is here to do that. We're gonna.
I mean, I think you're on the right track. I mean, my reason for flying the rogues was that they are mimicking this kind of T70 build or T65 equivalent, where I have a decent amount of health to maybe survive two attacks, hopefully a third, but bringing that 3-dice gun. And I think that's why I'm hesitant on Tri-Fighters, because I love their weaponry, love that 3-dice gun, but I do not like their chassis, 3 agility, 3 hull. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of thinking the same boat for the Boba Labs.
Yeah, because Impervium Hull Predator, that's 6 hull with
up to 8 potentially. Could be 10.
Up to 8.
If you're throwing directs.
And then 3 dice with all of them with bullseye rerolls. Yeah, and they all have the potential of reposition focus.
Yeah, really gonna be sad to see like Darth Vader or what's the Garvin or Gavin? Gavin Darklighter, who's just auto-generating crits.
Oh yeah. Or proton torpedoes or anything.
Proton torpedoes, right? All those gonna be sad to be like, maybe I don't want to add a crit into there, but you have to.
Well, Vader doesn't have to. But yeah.
He doesn't have to, but it's probably better that he does. So yeah, some exciting stuff. I like the change-ups. It's kind of switching out in the same chassis, going like, all right, you're gonna be more expensive with more loadout for a while, and we'll see what this one can bring. Bring it down to a cheap cost, cut its loadout. Pretty interesting to me. Like I said, 311, star of the CIS in my opinion right now. Love that little guy. Finally, I was a little begrudging to put Iron Assembler out on the board. I was like, I guess Power Creep. He's the brand new one, so I guess he's good. But I'm excited to bring 311 now. I want to see those plays where I could best find someone who needs to calculate. Like I said, I was throwing them to Nantex. I've been throwing them to Boba Labs. I've been throwing them to Rogues. What else did I put them on? I was throwing them to Tri-Fighters. That did not work out at all.
Yeah, it turns out one extra calculate doesn't mean a ton.
Didn't save my Tri-Fighters. But that was probably my fault for bringing the 4-pointers. So, interesting styles of lists. One of the few factions that can bring 8 ships. So we'll see what, with such a wide variety of list types, we'll see what people end up flying. Of course, if you have a suggestion for what we should be looking at in CIS, let us know. Write a comment on this podcast, put a comment on the YouTube video, join our Discord for all X-Wing discussions. Plus, as well, let us know what faction you want us to talk about. We only have a couple left. I know we're saving Rebels and Empire because we're going to talk all day about those extended ships coming back. But we'll see what faction we end up rolling with next time. For now, we'll hit you with the end screen. Stay safe, stay smart. Get out of here, little cobweb. Gold Squadron out.
Ugh.